Hi guys, welcome back to one of the greatest series. This is the greatest English team of the professional era, the greatest 15, and I'm defining professional era as 95 onwards. If a player only played a few years in the professional era, I might not well count them, so if there's some good players missing, that could be why. My job is to come up with the shortlist, the 5 to vote from. Your job is to pick those 5, and I'm going to come back with the results later in the week. This video is going to be about the greatest backs, then I'll do one tomorrow about the greatest forwards. You guys vote for a few days, then we'll come back with the results and I'll compare it to what I think is the greatest team, and it should be some pretty good stuff, some cool teams. So get stuck into this, bit of fun. Like I said, I'm doing the shortlist of 5. If you don't agree with that, my apologies, but I'll do the best I can. Hopefully there'll be some good players for you to pick from. So, starting with the backs, why not? At fullback, this is my list. Matt Perry, Josh Lucy, Delon Armitage, Mike Brown and Elliot Daly. Now Perry was one of the most capped fullbacks of all time for England with 35. Now as the professional era got going, there were more and more games, so more and more caps, so that is a little bit skewed in a way. But he was Woodward's first fullback. An injury and other players coming into form just saw him drop out and miss the 2003 World Cup, which could have pushed him into even greater esteem. But a really good all-round player, Matt Perry, very reliable at the back for sure. Then we've got military man Josh Lucy. He was hard as nails, ran hard, tackled hard, always gave his all, could play wing or 15, really good attributes, and he was an ever-present really when Woodward got hold of him, all the way up to the 2003 World Cup of course. Then at number 3 there, I'm not putting these in order, just number 3 on the list, Delon Armitage was a talent, a real talent, not a huge number of caps, played a bit under Martin Johnson when he was the manager, but boy, he could do some exciting stuff, a brilliant runner with the ball. A shame maybe we didn't see him more for England. Then the last 2, the more modern fullbacks, we've got Mike Brown, 72 caps for England. So, you know, really good number of caps there. An England mainstay, brilliant defensively, great under the high ball, very good at reading the attack as well. But then in the build-up to the World Cup of 2019, he was of course brutally dropped for Elliot Daly. And Daly, a little bit of a controversial choice at fullbackers. Many have criticised him a bit at fullback, and me too. Sometimes he's had poor games there. But what he can do is create. Fantastic creative player, can play wing as well. Brilliant boot as well. Just an all-round good player. You know, and he played all 3, started all 3 British and Irish Lions tests under Gatland in 2017, albeit on the wing, but that says a lot about the guy. So those are the 5 fullbacks. Here's the choice, probably there. Please select one of those. Now I've split the wings into left and right wing. Most wingers, well all wingers can play left or right wing. Some will prefer the left or the right. It depends how they play as well. But anyway, the best I've done, here we go. On the left wing, here are the 5 players on my short list. Luger, Cueto, May, Simpson Daniel and Austin Healey. An ice lolly? Okay, because you're playing so nicely, it's one ice lolly, tell her. To be fair to them, they're playing great, it's hot outside, it's on lockdown, they can have an ice lolly. Okay, let's get back into these wingers. Luger, Cueto, May, Simpson Daniel and Healey. Start with Luger, the guy's a finisher. Classic winger, 38 caps, 120 points, really scored a lot, and you know, I just remember his classic finger wave in the air, double finger wave when he scored. You know, wasn't always a starter, but you know, there or thereabouts for sure. Mark Cueto, 55 caps, so a bit more, an all-round quality winger. You know, really made his name, I guess, in the Premiership, scoring so many points in the Premiership. But he made it his way in the England team, culminating in the 2007 World Cup final, was probably the peak of his career when he scored the try that never was. Won't go back into that now. So he's definitely in the list. Then we've got the flyer at the moment, Johnny May. Wow, what a player. Bit of an OCD professional, but he's grease lightning. 53 caps at the moment, 145 points and growing. This guy's one of the best wingers in the world right now. And he's developed his overall game. Then a player, I'm not kind of jumping around in time zones here a bit, aren't I? But anyway, Simpson Daniel, James Simpson Daniel, Sinbad I think he was called as a nickname, one of the most talented players around. Didn't play a huge amount for England because of injury, also maybe selection wise he was looked over, could play anywhere, 10, 12, 13, I saw him play in his youth days, wing, fullback, scrum-half probably, he could play anywhere, and what a sidestep this guy had. He was so talented. Shame we didn't see more of him for England, but he could be one of the greatest. It's up to you to decide. And then rounding it out, we've got Austin Healey, Motormouth Austin Healey, one of my favourite players, one of the players, if you weren't an England fan, you love to hate as well. 51 caps, a real talent, could play anywhere in the back line again. Was he a wing? I'm not sure. I think he was a 9 or a 10, but maybe he was a bit untrusted by coaches playing 9 and 10, but he played mainly for England on the wing, and just what a great talent he was. On to the right wing. Like I said, I've kind of arbitrarily split these wings up, so apologies if there's two you want to pick from the same list. It's just how it is. So Jason Robinson, Cohen, Ashton, Watson and Noel. Jason Robinson, probably one of the best feet in world rugby ever. The acceleration over 20 metres was unbelievable. What a brilliant, brilliant player to have in your team. A game breaker. They would often, in the Woodward days, just stack Robinson on one side of the scrum and let's just fire him the ball and say, see what you can do. Beat a couple of men by yourself, and sometimes he did. Ben Cohen, 57 caps, 155 points, was a scoring machine. And in his prime, almost unplayable. A massive reason for Woodward's success. Very modern winger as well. Kind of a bit ahead of his time potentially. Then we've got Chris Ashton, arch finisher, came from rugby league and was a success. That's not always the case from league. Famous for his ash splash dive, which must have hurt. I've done that a couple of times and it does hurt. 44 caps, scored a lot of tries, maybe not all round a perfect player, but if you want a finisher, he's your man. He'd follow players. His lines from rugby league were good in that way. Then you've got Anthony Watson, class current player, blistering pace, footwork, and when he's fit, he's picked. This guy's picked. That's how good he is. British and Irish Lion as well. Jack Noel, similar, very busy. Sorry, well, similar as in he's been picked for the British and Irish Lions, but very different player. Likes in tight areas, very good with his footwork in tight areas, operates very differently to a classic winger, kind of a bit of a hybrid player as well, but high quality. Which of those five for you? Let's look at the nines, very close here I think. Starting off with Kieran Bracken, 51 caps, had a good battle with Dawson, really an ever-present in the squads of England when fit, World Cup winner in the squad there as well. And he faces off against Matt Dawson, his nemesis if you like. Got more caps, 77, 101 points, scored a lot of points, did a bit of kicking as well. A key player in the 2003 World Cup. A few famous moments for the Lions, a little dummy over his head. Again in the World Cup final, the dummy to set up Johnny Wilkinson's drop goal. A real quality player. Quite loud, which is what you want from a scrum half. Got him in trouble a few times, but high quality. Then another player from that era I've put in the list, which maybe you might not have thought of, Andy Gummersall. I think he was quality, really talented, maybe a bit unlucky to be in and around some of those other guys as well, but he was in the 2003 squad, he played in the 2007 final as well, a really long England career, high quality player. Then the two more modern guys, Danny Care and Youngs, both with huge number of caps. Danny Care obviously dropped out of the England scene recently, but 84 caps, 79 points, so quick, so sharp, instinctive player. Ben Young's a bit more of a controller, 99 caps, surely to go over 100, very reliable. Coaches like this guy, he can execute a game plan. So, which of those five for you is the greatest? Click the vote. Here's the list for fly halves. Don't panic, Owen Farrell, I know he's not there. I've put him into the centres because I've got a lot of candidates for fly half and not so many for centres, and he's been playing centre recently, so that's why he's there. Anyway, apologies if you want to vote for him at fly half. I think at the moment he's classed as a centre really for England. Anyway, Paul Grayson, number one in the list. Doesn't mean he's the first choice, just number one in the list. 400 points, kicking specialist, and I liked his composure, very reliable, and in the 2003 World Cup squad as well. Then on to probably the most famous name in this whole thing, Johnny Wilkinson, the golden boy. Never really liked the limelight, but he got it. And of course famous for the drop goal on his wrong foot to win the World Cup final. 91 caps, 1,179 points, not bad. Charlie Hodgson, dare I say, slightly more of a natural talent than Wilkinson. Real flow to his pass, read the game, eye for a gap. 38 caps, an injury just meant he didn't really surpass the 50, didn't go on and be a potential true great in terms of caps, but in talent, was he actually the greatest? Interesting question. Someone again who had more caps than Hodgson, but maybe not as much natural talent as Hodgson, was Toby Flood. Super reliable, very solid, good tackler, good kicker, just a real good all-round 10, 60 caps, a real mainstay of the team post-Wilkinson. And then finally on to George Ford, one of the current 10s for England. A pass master, eye for a gap, can read a game, small in size, but coaches love him because he can execute a game plan and play off the cuff. 64 caps and counting shows that. So I realised when editing this video that actually you can only put 5 poll cards in every video, so we're going to have to end part 1 there. So make sure you've got your votes in for fullback, wings, scrum half and fly halves. And I'm going to be back in part 2 where you can vote for the centres and the front row. A bit of a weird combination, but hey ho. And then we'll have part 3 with the second row and the back rows. And then finally, after a few days, then we'll have the final vote result and see who you picked as the greatest England team of the professional era. Thank you very much. I'll see you in part 2.